Hello, user testing community. It is Mike McDowell once again from the solutions consulting team here at User Testing, back with another tip of the week. Now, as the year winds down, I've got a lot of people asking me about their session units. If I've got some extra session units, what can I do with them? Is there anything you would recommend, Mike, at the end of the year here to utilize some of my session units in a way that's going to benefit me in the long run? So what I want to do is I want to run things that are going to set me up for the future. Benchmarking is a great example, or baselining. Start doing some tests that you're going to compare to in the future. So you can do that now. But that's not what I'm going to talk to you about today. What I'm going to talk to you about today is doing recruiting studies. Now, you're going to ask me, what is a recruiting study and why would I ever want to do that? Well, some of you, especially some of my customers, have some really niche audiences. And even though user testing is the best in the business, sometimes it can still take a little bit longer than normal to fill those studies, especially when we're talking about niche audiences, people that are outside of the mainstream. If you're a former user Zoom customer or user Zoom customer now, you think about things like incidence rate and how prevalent is this particular profile in the general population. So what do we do? Now, recruiting studies involve three things that you're going to want to do. First, we define and we recruit an audience in a short test. Second, then we go through and we review the respondents to our short test, and then we start favoriting them into a saved group. And then third, we are going to run our new studies by selecting the recruiting from our favorites option in the audience builder. When we select a new test, we're going to be asked, what do we want to test? Now, this is a recruiting study, so we're not really testing anything, but we're going to pick website because it's a great catch-all and it works perfectly in this case, and it's right down here. Now we select build an audience because we are in fact going to build an audience for our recruiting study. And now we're actually in the test creation overview. We've got audience and test plan. We're going to go ahead and build our audience. Once we're here, we're going to go ahead and we're going to define all the characteristics of this audience that we want to actually recruit. Now, something that's really important here is because we are doing a recruiting study, we're going to do a lot more than the standard 5 contributors that you would normally pick in a study. Remember, we're trying to build out an audience here that we can recruit from later. We're building our own sort of private pool of people that are going to be identified by the characteristics we're going to define in this audience builder. So I might say I want to pull 200 people for this study. So we'll do 200 people. This is designed to run over a long period of time as well. We're not going to fill this in a day or two. This could fill in a month. But over that month, we're going to build out 200 people, hopefully, that really meet our niche and that we can recruit from later. It may even take longer than that, depending on how specific your audience is. I'm not going to go through the specifics of defining an audience. You already know how to do that. You pick your demographic filters here, and then you come down and you add your screener questions. And when you are eventually done, you can save that as a template, or you can just say done. In this case, I'm just going to say done. Let's assume that everything was created to your specifications. Now, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to build the test plan just to show you the short test option in case you're not familiar. The test plan builder has loaded, and you'll notice right here on the right side is the short test option. You're going to flick that on. Now, what you're going to do here in the study is very, very important. Because this is a recruiting study, you're not going to actually have any tasks for them to do, but you still want to make sure that these people match the audience that you actually recruited. You just want to do due diligence here to make sure that they are exactly who you want. So you asked your screener questions already, but coming in here, throw in maybe a verbal question or a written question, just asking them a little bit more about the fact that they match that profile that you're looking for. So you might ask them a verbal question. If you're looking for someone who is, let's just say, a treasurer in a Fortune 500 company, you might say, describe your duties as a treasurer, and just have them explain it for a minute or two. That way you can review that very quickly, or even use the AI task summary to look at the review and see, does this person actually match who I wanted? When a study comes in and you're looking at your sessions, you're looking at all your test participants, I've reviewed the results on the metrics tab to see the answers people gave, or I've watched some of the videos to make sure these people were who they said they were in the screener questions. And now I want to go ahead and I'm going to say add to favorites. A pre-existing list of groups that I've already defined pops out, or I can say create a new list. Now this list can be any name that you choose. for your particular audience that you've created. So make sure you name it accordingly based on what the audience is. After you save that person to a new favorite group, you're going to start accumulating more and more people from your recruiting study into that group. And that's when you will then be able to use them to recruit for a follow-up study, which will make it go a lot faster. When I run my next test that needs that niche audience, I'm going to go back into my audience builder. And now directly above me on the right side of the screen, you're going to see an option for favorite contributors. So you can see contributor network options. This is the standard UserTesting's contributor network. We've got a custom network, specific contributors if you know exactly who you want to recruit from. But here we're going to click on favorite contributors. You'll notice the left side of the screen has changed. And now I have an option for which group do I want to pick people from. Now, this is going to speed things up because when you recruit from your favorite list, we don't send the invitations out to the general population in the UserTesting Contributor Network. We only send it to the people that you have in your favorites list. So just a reminder, the first thing we do, we run a short test to recruit the exact audience that we're looking for. Then we review our results and save the people that did qualify in a favorite group. Then when we need to do our study, the third thing we do is we actually are going to select favorite contributors as the audience we want to pull from. So this is a great way to make use of some session units as we're going to the end of the year, or any time of the year for that matter. I highly recommend recruiting studies and building favorites because it just speeds you up. And as we all know, time is our most precious commodity. And so anything we can do to go faster is something that I really think that we should do. That's going to be it for now, but don't worry, I'll be back again in 7 days with another user testing tip of the week.